talk to you just for a few minutes about developing a custom training strategy. So my name is Paul Aubin, and I appear to have a frog in my throat. I am an author and consultant for book authoring, LinkedIn learning, and a consultant, travel around the country doing hands-on training, and so forth. And I put this talk together just to talk about what you might need to do if you have to build a custom training curriculum for your firm. So the first thing I think, and probably the most important thing, is to set your expectations, to get your expectations really clear. You know, what are you being asked to do? Are you trying to improve a process? Are you trying to implement some new tool or software? Do you have to purchase some new service or tool or something like that? And you need to kind of have a really clear understanding of what all those things are, and then build a proper set of expectations. And I find in my own work, in my own consulting and training, that this is really the most important thing. When somebody says, hey, we need you to come in and train all our people, if they're not real clear on exactly what it is they want trained or what outcome they want to have at the end of it, it can really make it very difficult to achieve. So, you know, trying to suss out those vague expectations right from the beginning is a really important part of, you know, if you're the one responsible for building this strategy, that's going to be a really key thing that you need to do. So ask the right questions for people, try and get them to be specific, and really try to outline what that scope is going to be, so that when scope creep does occur, you know, you can point back to some of these earlier discussions and just kind of have a sense for people of, you know, what we talked about. And then, of course, part of having a clear expectation is, of course, knowing how much budget you're dealing with. And I'm going to define budget two ways: time and money, right? So I think both of them are equally important when you're talking about any kind of initiative, because it's not only the dollars you get to spend on the initiative, but, you know, when do we have to have this done by? You know, what's the outcome? What are we expecting to see, right? So once you've kind of got some sense of that for yourself and your team, the next thing is to kind of communicate that to the folks who are going to be part of all of this. You know, it can be a little bit dicey sometimes. Folks are happy to keep doing what they've always done. They don't want to make change. They don't want to try something new. So, you know, obviously, if you've got a really clear set of expectations, you can outline the benefits to them. You can tell them why it's good for them, why it's something that they want to do and be part of. Now, of course, there might be some, you know, risks involved, and, you know, I'm sure the people who are not necessarily thrilled with making a change will certainly be very vocal about what those are. So, you know, be open to that, talk to them about that, but, you know, kind of discuss how the benefits are going to outweigh those risks, of course. You know, of course, you want to outline the overall goals and, you know, do that in an attempt to try and get everybody on board. So then your next step is, you know, your resources. And again, I'm going to talk about this in terms of both time and money. So how much time do we have to do this, right? When do we need it done? Are we just training a small team of people? Are we training the entire office? Are we implementing some brand new tool altogether? You know, when do we need results by? What dates do the team have available? You know, look at everybody's calendars. I mean, if you're trying to train a team, but one of the key players in that team is not going to be available in the time that you scheduled the facility and the expert and all the other things, and they're not there, then, you know, it kind of sets you back a little bit. So you really need to make sure that you've aligned it with everybody's calendar. And then, of course, there's the dollars, right? You know, how much money do we have to spend? And that's going to impact what you can do, whether or not it's an in-house effort, an out-house effort, a combination of the two, something custom, something off the shelf, right? All those things will factor in. And then, of course, you know, the boss is always going to want to know about the expected return. And I love it when, you know, they send folks to training on a Friday and then expect everybody to be experts on Monday, right? You know, so that's part of that, setting the expectation, not only for your team, but back for the bosses as well, and say, okay, look, I know you want to return on this as quickly as possible, but it's going to take some time for everything to kind of marinate and for people to get, you know, acclimated to the new skill set. This is one of my favorite ones, you know, onsite or offsite. As an independent consultant, unfortunately, a lot of times I have to come into people's offices and do it on site because I don't have a facility to take them to. Ideally, you would take them out of the office to a facility, but failing that, you can outfit a space in the firm. So if you're a big firm and you've got lots of people to train or lots of technology to implement, it might be cost effective to actually outfit a dedicated space. If you can't do that, you can certainly look to rent one, and that might be more cost effective if you only need to train a small group of people, or if you're a smaller firm and you're not doing this all the time, it's kind of expensive to have a dedicated training space. But the key is, in both cases, whether it's on-site, kind of cloistered space, or off-site where you rent a space, is, you're trying to avoid interruptions and disruptions. I can't tell you how many times I've been in training and, somebody comes in and they poke their head in the door and they say, they point to a guy, can you come, and they take him out, and then 3 hours later, the guy comes back in and says, oh, I'm sorry, what did I miss? Well, you missed 3 hours of training in a one-day training, exercise. I mean, there's really not much we can do to repeat all of that, So that avoiding the disruptions is really the key thing, because there's always going to be that opportunity to come in and say, I just need you just for a minute. But if the person's not in the office, it's much harder to do that, So, or if the official policy is, we've got this room down the hall, it's a closed door policy, unless the building's on fire, you don't interrupt anybody, that kind of thing. And that has to come from the top, obviously, and that's part of that earlier expectation building. In terms of curriculum, obviously, what do you want to cover, right? I mean, a lot of the tools and procedures and processes that we're all being expected to learn are big, broad topics. So, kind of getting that down and having some idea of what needs to be covered, what is most important to my team for their success, you kind of establish that. Now, that can come in two ways. It can be a standard curriculum that, comes with the trainer, or, something that is readily available in different outfits, or it can be something you customize and tailor very specifically to your firm's need. My experience is usually somewhere in the middle. We start with a standard curriculum and then we customize it in some way to meet what the firm is looking for. And that can also be very general in terms of, here's a set of tools and skills that we think everybody needs to know to use, whether it's AutoCAD or whether it's Revit or Inventor, these are the core skills that person needs to know. Or it can be project specific. The trouble with project specific, in my opinion, is that often the needs of the project will dominate anything else, right? And so they'll get really good at a couple key skills that were useful for that particular project, but then when they're asked to now translate that to the next project, they may not be as prepared to do that because we didn't cover some of those foundation things or whatever. So I always prefer something kind of in the middle. Let's get some core skills in there that everybody would need to have on any kind of project, and then supplement that with project specific if that's appropriate, okay? Training materials. Well, I have a little bit of a dog in the race on this one. Being an author of books, videos, and custom curriculum, I've done all of these things, and all of these are appropriate for, to supplement your training exercise. Books, of course, are really nice because people can, take them with them on the train or, do it at their own pace. Videos offer some of that as well. But videos are great because it can go with you on your device. You can play them over again. You can play them at fast speed or slow speed. You can build custom playlists. So it lends itself more than, with a book, if I want to customize the flow of the material, I either have to put lots of dog ears and Post-it notes in there, or I have to tear the pages out, or, whatever I might do. It's a lot easier to kind of flow from one topic to the next in a custom playlist and some video curriculum. And then, of course, custom documents. If really what we're talking about is not an off-the-shelf tool, then you're probably going to have to write that curriculum yourself. You're going to have to write those materials yourself, whether it's you or somebody on your team. You're going to have to get folks on board that can have those resources that people can refer back to. So when all is said and done, what it comes down to is it's not a one-time delivery, right? You're not just building a custom curriculum or a custom training effort that it's one and done. You deliver it and it's all over. These days, we are lifetime learners. You heard a little bit of that on the main stage this morning. You guys all knew that already. I don't think that's news to anybody. We're constantly being faced with new tools, new procedures. So, we've got to not only plan and execute the delivery of the task that we were asked for initially, but we really got to allow for and plan for the follow-up. What's going to happen afterwards? What's going to happen on that Monday morning? After they've been hit with the fire hose for a day or 3 days of training, and then they have to come back and do something, do we have a follow-up plan in place? And do we have ongoing support? So that's kind of a really fast overview of building a custom training curriculum. Thank you very much.